application of Malus law. So whatever theory we have learned, let us learn how to really practically apply it. Okay, so let me give you a question and then try to solve it on your own. Two Polaroids are used to study polarization, are used to study polarization. Okay, one of them is kept fixed. One of them is kept fixed and the other is initially kept, and the other is initially kept with its axis parallel to the polarizer axis. Kept with its axis parallel to the polarizer axis. ध्यान से क्वेश्चन को सुनना. The analyzer is then rotated. The analyzer is then rotated through angles of 45 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree in turn. Okay. How would the intensity of light, how would the intensity of light coming out of the analyzer be affected for these angles of rotation? These angles of rotation as compared to the initial intensity, and why? As compared to the initial intensity, and why? So tell me, how would you like to visualize this problem? So what will be your first understanding? You will use Malus law. What is Malus law? I becomes I naught cos square theta, right? So when in the very first case, what is the value of theta? आप बताइए. Theta is 45. So first case, I would become I naught cos square 45, which is I naught multiplied by 1 by 2, right? 1 by root 2 ka square will become 1 by 2. So what will be our outcome? I naught upon right? Clear? In the second case, theta will be what? So theta is 90 degree, which means I would become I naught cos square 90 degree, which is 0. माने एक ऐसे है, दूसरा ऐसे है, एक दूसरे से 90 डिग्री एंगल पे है, तो 0. And in the third case, when theta is 180 degree, so I would become I naught cos square 180, so I would be I naught minus 1 का whole square, which is I naught I naught itself. ठीक है कि नहीं? तो ये आपका आउटकम है, आंसर का ये आंसर हो जाएगा. Let us do one more question. Question number 2. Two polarizing sheets have their polarizing directions. Have their polarizing directions parallel, so that the intensity direction parallel, so that the intensity of the transmitted light is maximum. Through what angle must the either sheet be turned? Through what angle must the either sheet be turned if the intensity is to be dropped by 1/2? If the intensity is to be dropped by 1/2. करिए. Tell me how we should initiate. Two polarizing sheets have their polarizing directions parallel, so that the intensity of the transmitted light is maximum. Through what angle must the either sheet be turned if the intensity is to be dropped by 1/2? Here we want I should become I naught upon 2. That's what half means. So it should be I naught cos square theta, which means cos square theta should be 1 upon 2, which means cos theta should be 1 upon root 2. Yes, definitely. Both plus minus. Okay, so there are two cases here. Case 1, when cos theta is 1 upon root 2, which is positive, then theta is 45. Okay, also theta can be negative 45, because in the negative zone also theta is positive. So here theta can be plus minus 45 degree. Now case 2 can be when cos theta is negative, when cos theta is negative 1 by root 2. So that is possible when it is second quadrant or third quadrant. So it would be what? It would be 90 plus 45, that is plus minus 135. Okay. Is this clear or not? So these our answer is theta is either plus minus 45 degree or theta is plus minus 135 degree. Okay. Let us do one more question. Are you learning the application? Okay. Three identical Polaroid sheets. Three identical Polaroid sheets. P1, P2 and P3 are oriented so that the axis of P2 and P3 are inclined at angles of 60 degree and 90 degree respectively, with respect to the path axis of P1. A monochromatic source S of intensity I naught is kept in front of the Polaroid, is kept in front of the Polaroid. Sheet P1. Find the intensity of the light as observed by observer, as observed by observers O1, O2, O3 positioned as shown below. Positioned as shown below. I am drawing. So here it is your S, O1, O2, O3. This is P1, P2, P3. Tell me. It is important to read the question very carefully. Three identical Polaroid P1, P2, P3 are oriented so that the axes of P2 and P3 are inclined at angles. P2 and P3 are inclined at angle 60 degree and 90 degree respectively with respect to the path axis of P1. Okay. So P1 के path axis से P2 and P3 का 60 डिग्री एंड 90 डिग्री समझ रहे हो. यहाँ से ये 60 डिग्री पे है और दूसरा 30 डिग्री पे है विद रेस्पेक्ट टू दिस ओनली. हाँ 60 degree and 90 degree. Yes. So if you see, since it is given, reference axis is this only. So the first thing is, the first one is 60 degree, right? So here your intensity is what? I naught. Correct? So what will be the intensity at O1? Why would it be? Because there is a Polaroid sheet over here. So what happens? Whatever is the intensity at source, it becomes what? It becomes by half. Just now we have discussed. So you will receive here I naught by 2. Will you not receive that? That is what you should understand. And here at O2, since my theta here is 60 degree, so what will I receive? इसको आप ले लीजिए, let's say I dash is I naught upon 2. So whatever is I dash, it will be I dash cos square 60. Yes. So it will be I dash means I naught upon 2 into 1 upon 2 whole square. Yes or no? So it will become I naught upon 8. So this is at O2. Intensity at O2. Okay, this is secondary, and the first intensity at O1 is I naught upon 2. And now we need to know what is the intensity at O3. So tell me how much will be the intensity at O3? This one is 90 degree with respect to this, and this one was 60 degree with respect to this. What is the relative degrees between the P2 and P3? So here you will take angle as 30 degree. Okay. So here it will be IO2 multiplied by cos square 30 and that will be IO3. समझ रहे हैं? So I naught upon 8 times cos 30 is what? Sin 60 root 3 by 2 whole square का whole square. So it will be 3 by 4 times I naught upon 8. So it will be 3 I naught upon 32. Is this clear or not? So this is how you have to analyze. All right. Let us take one more question. The polaroids P1 and P2 are placed in crossed positions. In crossed positions. A third polaroid P3 is parallel to that of P1 is parallel to that of P1 and P2 such that path axis of P3 path axis of P3 is parallel to that of P1 is parallel to that of P1. How would the intensity of light I2 I2 transmitted through P2 vary as P3 is rotated? Vary as P3 is rotated. Draw a plot of intensity I2 versus the angle theta between path axis of P1 and P3. P1 and P3. So how would you visualize this problem? So P1 and P2 can you see the polaroid P1 and P2 are placed in the crossed position. Did you see what does it mean? It means that one is kept like that, right? And the other one is kept like what? Like this. एक horizontal है, one is horizontal. Crossed position is this. Okay. So you will have to visualize this P1 and P1 and P2. So this is P2. So here it is P2. Okay, the third polaroid P3 is kept between P1 and P2 such that path axis of P3 is parallel to P1. So path axis of P3 is parallel to P1. So ये P3 है. Okay. So that means जो भी axis होगा, so the path axis would go like this. Okay. So it will be like that. So here you will have polarized, and here also you will have polarized, but here because it is 90 degree, यहाँ आउटपुट तो नहीं मिलेगा आपको, राइट. सो P2 का आउटपुट क्या लिखें यहाँ I2, और P3 का आउटपुट क्या लिखें यहाँ I3, और P1 का आउटपुट क्या लिखें I1, ऐसा लिख ले. So now what is theta? The angle theta is the angle between P1 and P3, yes or no? So what will be my I3? I3 will be what? I3 will be I2 times cos square. In fact I1 times, because I1 है ना, I3 will be I1 times ना, I1 times cos square theta, correct? Cos square theta. Is this clear? And let's go to the next page. So what is my, let me just write down again. I3 is I1 cos square theta. Now here I2 will be what? It will be I3 cos square 90 minus theta, because that is the difference. Okay, so it becomes I3, and cos 90 minus theta becomes sin square theta. Okay. So are you clear why I wrote 90 minus theta? Because the position was this, and then you are rotating with it from this position. Okay. Okay. So what will be my I2? I2 will be I1 cos square theta sin square theta. Just putting the values. Okay. So cos square theta, sin square theta, and what that would become? It will become 1 upon 4 I1 2 sin theta cos theta whole square. 4 से मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया, 4 से डिवाइड कर दिया. So that I will get 1 upon 4 I1 sin square 2 theta. That would be my I2. Okay. Now if I1, I2 versus theta I have to draw. So what will be my graph? This will be my, let's say this is I2. So I2, maximum value of I2 will be I1 by 4. Yes or no? When 2 theta is 90 degree. Okay. So we can say that sin square theta means you will actually be getting sin square theta hai. So this will be the graph like this. So, and since you know at pi by, you will see what? You will see that pi by 2 पे 0 हो जाएगा, because sin pi is 0, and maximum value will occur at pi by 4. Likewise, it will be कितना 3 pi by 4, and then pi again 5 pi by 4, again 3 pi by 2, and so on. Yes, this is my theta. Okay, so transmitted intensity, obviously sine 2 theta is 0 or theta is 0. So you get minima, I2 will be minimum. And number 2, when 2 theta is 1, that means 2 theta is 90 degree, which means theta is 45. So you will get a maxima. Yeah? So I2 will be maximum. Tell me, is the concept of polarization clear?